Ladies and gentlemen, it is your Wednesday night sports delight. It's the platform sports talk show. Your boy Smooth right here. Happy Wednesday. Got some crazy weather earlier today, but thankfully it went on and went past us. And now we can have this show. Cause I know some of y'all like me for a minute may have had a little power outage, but we here and we have a big show in store for y'all. So thanks for tuning in. Make sure y'all share this this stream, whether you're on Twitter, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube. Share, let everybody know what's going on because we have a very, very big show in store for you tonight. And earlier I said we. So that means that I'm not here by myself. I have someone here who started this show with me. And this show is so big and it was so perfect to have this man come on back to the show. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring him on. This man here, this my cat, this my guy. And I'm glad that he's back, y'all. Everybody show some love to Sadal, the selector. What's going on, man?
Look what the wind blew in. I'm back.
Hey, bro, it's good to see you, man. How have you been?
I've been doing pretty good. I've been grinding on the real estate grind. It's it's been a bumpy ride, but I'm still at it. I'm not giving up until I get that deal, man.
So for those watching for the first time and who are seeing you, once again, I came to this man, 3 years ago, 3 years and some change now. Shout out to Legacy Books and Cafe. We were doing the show there, and I was like, man, I want to go ahead and do a sports talk show. And we talked about it earlier. You was like, okay, let's do it. Then you saw how I was getting the camera, and
I'm gonna be real with you. When you said you were gonna start a sports talk show, people come up to me all the time and say, I'm gonna start this, I'm gonna start that, but they never really follow through. They just talking. So at first I'm like, oh, okay, you're gonna start a sports talk show.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm.
So then he hits me up, maybe a couple weeks later. Hey, I got the camera and everything, got all the setup. I'm like, oh, you may be serious. And it wasn't until we went live for the first time.
Two stools,
two
mic stands, no backdrop,
nothing.
Just no graphics on the screen. We just chilling.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, we doing a sports talk show.
Right. It's real. It's serious. Real. And our very first show was way back on Facebook. So you got to go to our page, which you'll see on the screen as we got the MIZZOU background for tonight. But just go to our page, man. See our very, very first show and see how it changed from back then to now. It's wonderful, and I love to see progress.
It's progress, and this is a testament to consistency. This show has been on almost every single Wednesday for the past almost 3 years. That kind of consistency is going to yield success. That's why I strive to be consistent with my business. And even if it doesn't seem like anybody's watching, or if no one's watching while you're working, chances are you're going to get there and it's going to just happen just like that.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, we have a very special guest on this show.
There we go.
That we just started out of the blue.
That's correct, man. So I definitely encourage you, man, spend more of your time investing in what you love to do. Bottom line, stop giving your 100% to these 9 to 5 that you don't have a passion for, and invest more into your passion and your love. Bottom line, you do that, you'll see the results. And as you said before, consistency. You got to be consistent. Mm-hmm. And you got to add some persistence as well. Because if you don't do that, if you don't stay on it, you're going to fall back and lose interest. You know what I'm saying? So you came a long way, and it's a joy. For those who are tuning in, thank you very much once again. If you want to leave a comment, you have to make sure that you comment either under the pages you see on your screen, on YouTube, on Twitter, or on Facebook. If you are watching a watch party right now under my personal page, Fred Head, please make sure to go and comment under the Platform Sports Talk Show so we can see your comments throughout the show and we can interact. If you have questions, comments, anything sports related, we can interact with you and we can get this show going down. So, Sadal doesn't know this, but I got something for him. So, before we continue the show, because we got to bring it back to the old school, and this is something that we've always wanted to do, but didn't have the right equipment yet to do it because we weren't able to apply video to our show during the show, doing a live broadcast. So we got to take it back and do something like...
Tom Brady done? Is he finished?
And Green Bay is not Green Bay right now.
You always wrong. Ooh.
Let's go back to Philly. A big trade just happened. Jimmy Butler.
And he's facing his former team, so you know it's gonna be some animosity.
And in the number one spot
for now.
Oh.
Seeing that field in Mexico City, it shows how stupid the NFL is. Now the East. How we looking? Her favorite team.
Her favorite team.
With this trade happening, does this mean the Sixers are the front runners, are the favorites?
So you're gonna stand up here and defend the player that just went 1 for 11, and then all of a sudden got sick?
Work day is getting on my nerves, but you know I'm here. We talking about sports, man. So I ain't even thinking about work right now. I'm thinking about sports.
That's why your laptop dead.
That part right there, that's why your laptop dead. This is the Platform Sports Talk Show. Your boy Smooth along with
So
when it's about sports.
it becomes our business.
And for Stanton, business just picked up. There we
still
go.
remember that part.
There we go. We had to bring it back.
That's how you gotta kick it off, man.
Yes, sir.
I was waiting for something.
That's how you do it. I got you. I got you. There we go. We got to take it back old school, y'all. So, yours truly, Sadal. We back, the original duo. Stan could not be here tonight. We had, for those who are in the local area in St. Louis, I had a nice little storm that happened. Winds were going crazy.
Hey, there was a couple of street lights out as I was coming down.
Yeah. So he had to take care of some business, man. He wanted to be on the show but couldn't be here. But we're going to definitely have a great show. Once again, we have an incredible guest who's going to be joining us later on. But with that being said, man, let's go ahead and get right into business with the roundtable.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Now, disclaimer. Not only have I been away from sports, I've been focusing on my business, trying to at least. I've been away from social media. So I don't know what's going on.
So that means that your reactions are just going to be just straight, should be priceless tonight.
Yeah, it should be. I don't know what's happening. So I'll be surprised as anybody. Now, please don't judge me. I may be late. Okay? We can establish that. I'm late. All right? So what has been going on?
So it was official as of this past Monday that the Washington Redskins name is retired.
Okay, wow.
And the reason why, because for years they've been wanting to, get this name removed.
We've been hearing that, yeah.
But with all the unrest that's been going on, with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and so much going on, and now you have all these businesses that's saying we're going to remove ourselves from associating with you if you don't make a change. So the pressure was on Daniel Snyder, to make moves. So you saw how money could be affected, and now they have officially removed the Redskins name. They don't have a new name yet, but a couple options so far we've heard is the Warriors,
Okay.
or what I like personally, the Red Tails. Remember the
Red Tails from
the Tuskegee?
World War II,
Yes,
Tuskegee Airmen?
yes.
Oh wow.
So that's definitely in
That's a good
consideration. So, how do y'all feel about the Redskins changing the name? Do you think they should have done that? And do you like the Red Tails name or Warriors? So if you have something else, bring them comments once again under our page you see on the screen. So they made that change. The NBA is getting closer and closer. There now, everyone is pretty much at Orlando, or I shouldn't say everybody, because you have a few people who stepped away because of their concerns with COVID, or maybe they had personal injury issues going on that couldn't let them go to Orlando.
Yeah, now I've heard that. I have heard that they are going to continue, but without certain teams that didn't get
Exactly.
a record, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
So pretty much, if you're like in the bottom tier and you like way out the playoff race, you ain't even invited to. Like the Phoenix Suns, they're not even invited. Well, you know what? No, I take it back. I think the Suns are invited there, so maybe they're not doing as bad. But I think there are maybe a few teams that may not be part of that bubble.
It's like a brand new season, man. It's like you can't even equate what went down a couple months ago to now.
Right.
Because right about now, the final should have been over and done with.
Oh yeah, like the.
So how are they going to swing this season to try to finish it? How long is it going to be? And then they're going to kick it right back into the season in the fall.
So what they're saying is that more than likely it's going to start in December, the new season. So like around after Christmas time, or maybe Christmas time may be the first, maybe opening day because of opening night because of what's going on. So much. COVID has done so much to this world, man. It's crazy. Like the NBA draft got pushed back to like September. Because they had to give time to have this bubble happen if it continues.
I wonder what they're going to do with the NFL's Hall of Fame.
They already got to postpone until next year.
Wow. Isaac Bruce got to wait.
Yeah. So, man, COVID has definitely affected so much right now.
And the NFL season. I heard they of course they canceled the Hall of Fame game because they're going to do the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And next year?
Yeah, the Hall of Fame, I believe, but that was postponed as well to definitely next year. Right now, we really don't know if there's going to be. They may have a target date, but you just don't know if, based off of the results from COVID, if it's going to actually go down.
Okay.
So they have plans in place, but you just don't know because you keep on hearing so many different cases coming up.
Because they said we never left the first wave. This never ended. We just stopped.
Man, folks been saying, "Oh man, this second wave is something else." That I'm like, we never got rid of the first wave.
Yeah, we still in the first wave.
All they did was just open business back up. So
Okay, now another piece of news that I've also heard, you couldn't get away from it, but Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And then Cam Newton getting signed by
the Patriots. How do you feel about that?
I still hate the Patriots. I still hate Tom Brady. Nothing changed. Business as usual. I'm not going to change my stance. Just like everybody's jumping off the Patriots bandwagon and then jumping back on and then jumping off and jumping back on. I'm not wavering. I hate the Patriots. I hate Tom Brady. I hate all of their cheating selves, man.
Do you hate Cam Newton now?
Cam Newton ain't got nothing to do with it. But you know what? He's guilty by association. I'm sorry, Cam, but I hate you now. I'm sorry. You played for the enemy.
Oh, man. I can't say that I'm rooting for the Patriots but I'm definitely rooting for him because of what he's gone through. And I told Stan this last week, and I feel that if Cam Newton was on the Patriots last year during the playoffs, he would have done more than what Tom Brady did because he brings more to the table in regards to being more versatile. He's not a sit in the pocket type guy.
He brings more to the table, and he's more versatile in his wardrobe game.
That is correct. But he's more of a dynamic force than Tom Brady. Everybody can kind of like, focus on the receivers, running back when you're facing Tom Brady. But when you got Cam Newton,
yeah, I guess Cam Newton brings that dual threat. He can kill you in the air with his arm, and he can kill you on the ground.
Right.
A lot of people wanted to slight him for that, but you got to remember he was injured for a year and a half.
Right.
He wasn't totally healthy, so
it's like he hasn't really been the same since he was an MVP a couple years back.
Yeah, I mean it's injuries, and it happens in sports and NFL. But hopefully he's completely healed up to a point where he can be that dual threat for them. Not too good though. Hopefully they do just as good to miss the playoff.
Right.
9-7, miss the playoffs, great. But that's the only thing I hope for them. I hate the Patriots, and I hope that this dynasty is finally over.
Say it's finally over.
Yes.
Man. So going back to the NBA, Los Angeles Lakers backup point guard Rajon Rondo, he broke his thumb during their retraining camp, so he's going to be out for a few months. So that's going to hurt the Lakers backcourt. So you're going to have guys like Alex Caruso, who you have to get him to take up backup point guard duties. Maybe Quinn Cook.
Was Caruso's effort a fluke?
No, he's the real deal. He's the real deal, but will he be able to handle being a point guard?
Kurt Rambis?
Oh Lord, Kurt Rambis. But like I said, will he? He's not really like a point guard. He's more of a shooting guard or off guard where he don't take the ball up the court all the time. Okay. He feeds off of everybody else. Okay. Quinn Cook, he hasn't had a lot of playing time because of Rondo and Caruso and LeBron playing mainly point guard as well. But we'll see. But it's gonna be a huge blow for Rondo and the Lakers. We'll see what happens. Once again, you don't know if games will officially resume because of the cases, and they're in Florida where it's a hotbed for COVID. Like if you want to get COVID, go to Florida. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. What's gonna happen, but a huge blow for the Lakers. Speaking of which, do you have your headset with you? You're gonna need it.
Okay. I do have some earphones.
Yeah. You're gonna need it for the show.
There, right?
That's Stan's. I don't know if you want to use his.
All right.
Then I actually have somebody behind the TV. There's some big ones. You can go ahead and grab those as well. Okay. And I got the sanitizer wipes, so you can go ahead and wipe them down like Boosie.
I got some right here in my trusty bag. I still have my DJ bag.
There you go.
Not a lot of use, but
yeah, you're gonna need that for the conversation that we have with our special guest coming up very soon.
Need that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna reach, but we'll see.
We're gonna make it reach.
We're gonna make it reach.
Just plug it in, you're good to go.
See, now we in the game.
I got you, brother.
We are in the game right now.
Yeah.
All right, got our headset.
Oh, you know what? Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Now talk.
Talking.
Oh, there we go. Now,
they couldn't hear me the whole time?
No, they can hear you, but they couldn't hear you.
Oh my goodness! I'm sitting here talking to myself.
Oh no, they heard you, but it wasn't as clean as it is now.
Oh my goodness!
So and see, no one has commented yet. Like, man, I don't hear Sadar real good. I didn't think about it. I'm like, wait a minute, how come I don't hear you good? Because I put these headphones.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, wait a minute, how come he don't sound as good as I do? But now you good.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and then now, you can put the microphone just a little bit further away from you.
All right,
and you good to go. Yep. So going back, man.
If you couldn't hear me before, I still hate the Patriots, and I'm shocked of the Redskins changing their name. Okay,
there it is. And talked about Rondo. So your thoughts of the national anthem, right?
Okay.
in football, they're pretty much saying that they may do the anthem while the players are still in the locker room. That's to avoid all the kneeling and everything like that. Now they're talking about adding the black national anthem.
They're getting ridiculous, man. Come on now.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you.
They're getting ridiculous.
So do you
All
think
right,
that's too much?
Listen, they didn't even play any anthem before 2000 and something, 2005 or something. You know, I think them playing the black national anthem is being facetious. It's not being genuine. Hey, how about you give a serious shot to Colin Kaepernick? That's an idea. You trying to do all this crazy stuff? Listen, man, it comes off as ingenuine. Don't do it.
Yeah,
Just don't do it. Don't do that.
yeah. Like, hey,
Just
then you're gonna have other nationalities. Well,
What about the Hispanic? Yeah, what about the Canadian?
We'll be sitting here for like 35 minutes before the game starts because we're trying to appease that. Just don't play the doggone thing.
Amanda Seals, you know her, right?
Yeah.
So she had a post with a good idea. I was like, wow, that's actually kind of smart. What about just revising the actual national anthem?
I can just hear. I can just hear the detractors right now.
Oh
man, I'm not even gonna touch that. You know what?
Keep it PG.
I am going to keep it sports, and I'm gonna save my thoughts. I just rather save my thoughts, man.
Got you. So other news in football, the Power 5 leagues. So you got the SEC, ACC, Pac-12, the Big 8, Big 10. I'm sorry, not Big 8, but the Big 12, and then the Big 10, whatever you want to call it, or the Big, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. As of right now, majority of those Power 5 conferences are planning to just play in-conference games only for the football season, if they do have a football season. So that means, like for MIZZOU, they had scheduled games against like Central Arkansas coming up, and like a Wyoming team, something like that. It's not going to happen now if the SEC officially approves it, like the other conferences have already been doing so. How big of a game changer would that be if, except for MIZZOU playing Central Arkansas and other conferences, that every game you playing is going to be an SEC game? Or for those watching right now, your team, wherever conference they are, every game is going to be a conference game.
It is going to put a monkey wrench in the National Football Championship, because you're not going to see teams play other great teams. Not that they were playing great teams before. You had Alabama play the State University, no-name State University every year, but it's going to make the committee have a very, very tough job in picking the 4 to go to the national championship. It's actually going to set us back to probably the 70s.
Oh wow.
80s, when that's what was going on. You only played people in your conference. You didn't play these cross teams because really the travel wasn't what it was back then. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be old school football.
Right.
Now, it's not going to hurt conferences like the ACC and the SEC in football because they already got the great teams. Mm-hmm. You're playing the best. But what is going to hurt is those teams on the brink. Those teams from maybe outside of Ohio State is going to hurt everybody in the Big 10. It's going to hurt those teams in the Big 12 and those Power 5 conferences that may have an undefeated record but haven't played anybody. Now, at least before they had some teams to play in some of these Power 5 conferences, now they're not even going to have the luxury to even play them, to even see them. So their undefeated record is going to be null and void. And the Pac and the Pac-12 it's going to be SOL. Because they're already suffering because they're on the West Coast. They play West Coast games. They play late night games, which I love. I love football all the time. But the whole nation is not going to be able to see them.
Right.
Now they're just confined to the West Coast. So, and then that might hurt recruiting, and that might, may have a little ripple effect if this is longer lasting.
Right. Yeah. So that's that right there. And usually you'll have those games that you start off with where you can kind of like get things ready to go before you start playing your divisional opponents. Game changer, because you can come from maybe having a 6-4, 7-3, 8-2 season to maybe a 5-5 because you're playing conference.
Yeah,
so that's big.
You can't hide behind the no name state universities anymore to get your wins.
Right.
You got to play who you play.
All right. So other news, got some major firepower. So the New York Mets in baseball, they are trying to sell their team. So for the longest time, J-Rod and J-Lo and A-Rod. So now J-Rod, they have been trying to put a bid in to own the Mets. And they've reached out to a few other people to make this happen.
Okay.
They have also now added to their group Washington Wizards, Bradley Beal, Hall of Famer Brian Urlacher, and Travis Kelce. So they trying to add more money on money to get this bid. This should be pretty interesting to see if they can go ahead and own the New York Mets. Because if they do, that would change the franchise. And because they've been having a lot of bad luck with their organization for the last few years. Ever since they went to the World Series, they just haven't had a lot of good luck since then.
Man, now if we can only put the same bid in for the Tampa Bay Rays and the New York Knicks in basketball, I think the world would be a better faces. Will they bring in the dollars though? I don't know. If they have to build a 4-person coalition to try to buy the team, that doesn't look bode well to their roster. As far as cash flow.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, man. Because like I said, when you got that kind of firepower like that, it's going to attract people. It's going to, and then.
For sure.
People.
Dodgers have got money,
right?
And you got to go against with like the Cardinals that have money.
So before we bring on our guest, going back to the NBA, Kawhi, Adam Silver in the league has allowed players to wear social injustice names or meanings or sayings on the back of their jersey, so they ain't got to have like their last name. Okay. They can have a certain statement, like there or social justice or free, whatever. A few players have decided to not put their last name on, and one of them is probably the biggest name. That's LeBron James. He felt like there wasn't. I guess there were like a certain list of slogans or word comments that you can use for your jersey, and he didn't see the right one that really fit what he wanted to say. Jimmy Butler done the same thing, and like Kawhi Leonard also has done the same thing. And as you see here on your screen, he has a quote, and I like this quote because this is like so Kawhi-like. He says, "It doesn't matter if we have a statement on the back of our jersey. It's all about doing the work."
Yeah. Yeah, because you would have made it. What would have made it better is whatever we put on the back of the jersey. The most important thing is what's on the front.
Correct.
Play as a team.
Correct.
Bringing in those different ideologies and backgrounds and shades and colors. Front of that jersey is what you play for.
Right.
And the name on the front of that jersey ultimately wins that championship. Playing as a team. I hate to sound like Not the classic type. Remember the Titans.
Right.
Strong side, right, wrong.
Strong side, left side.
Left side, strong side. But hey, I'm just saying.
All right. So without any further ado, y'all, it's showtime because he's ready. So without any further ado, it is definitely an honor and a privilege to have this man on the show. From the moment that I heard that MIZZOU said, let's bring him on, let's get at him, and he agreed to it, I instantly was excited. And between me, you, and Stan and B. Baker, how I am about MIZZOU.
Yeah, you were a fanatic about MIZZOU basketball.
Football, basketball, I've been so excited. And when this man agreed to become the head coach, I felt like, this is the jump start that the organization, that the university needed. So without any further ado, it is definitely an honor and a privilege to have MIZZOU men's head coach, COUNZO Martin, on the line. Coach, how are you doing on this Wednesday?
I'm doing fine, man. How you guys doing?
And we are doing great. Thank you very much for being part of the show. How have you been doing, handling everything with the pandemic at this time?
I've been doing relatively well, man. Unfortunately, with the COVID, the deaths, the anxiety, the stress, the loss of jobs, it's been tough for our country. But for me personally, I've been fine. I'm very coachable when it comes to being quarantined and wearing my mask, so I'm consistent with that. I think for me, if there's a plus, just spending a lot of quality time with my family, man, and that part has been great. My oldest son graduated from college, so he's back home, so that part has been great. Now he's leaving us here late August, going off to graduate school. My youngest son is in college, and so for me, just spending quality family time and just getting back to the basics.
That's good. I'm glad that everybody's doing well in your family. And during this time, I heard recent reports that it's very possible because of the pandemic. I know that it's questionable with the football season possibly starting, but I'm getting word that possibly the basketball season could be moved up. Is that correct?
I couldn't honestly tell you if I said anything, I would be guessing just like most people because there's so many unknowns and with the virus, things are constantly changing, whether it's every day, every week. So I want to be fair and I want to be honest. I don't have a true answer for that. But for me, the most important thing is the health and safety of our people, and that means all across the board, our campuses, our communities. So whatever happened with the scientists and the college coaches, administration, the NCAA presidents, whatever they decide to do, I'm all for it. But for me, the most important thing is being safe and being healthy.
Correct. And with your players, when they start seeing the spread of the pandemic happening, did you feel any, maybe they were scared, just really not knowing how to handle things? And were you able to, or what was your method on trying to calm them down and prepare them for what's going on right now?
Hey, well, like with most young guys, they don't have fear for this type of thing unless it hit them intimately. So I mean, they still play pickup games. I think the initial first 3 weeks was different for everybody. Just kind of trying to figure out what's going on. Then all of a sudden, okay, everybody's quarantined, but then it got to a point where guys are doing one-on-one workouts, working out with a trainer, and all of a sudden they 5-on-5 playing and hidden gyms and different things because they're young guys and that's what they do. But no, I wouldn't necessarily say our guys are really in fear because, again, initially it was said, it couldn't affect young people, so that wasn't their concern. And most young guys, they'll do what they do. And for me, we would Zoom calls, and unfortunately I can't be around that guys. Now, there's about 4 or 5 guys I'm able to be around now because we can have some level of interaction because they're coming in and working out, but we can't do anything on the basketball floor. But I just decided for our guys the best thing to do is just to stay at home and be with their families because I just wasn't safe with it. And again, the 4 guys we have on our campus now, this is somewhat their home. Not that their home situations are bad, but just when you have older guys, they have their apartments, they're in relationships, so they're here, so they're working out their facilities. But for me, I want the guys to be at home with their families.
Nice. So before we continue on with current day, let's take it all the way back, like, the Jordan documentary, The Last Dance. Let's take it all the way back to your younger years as a kid. When did you find your love for sports?
Well, when I was a young guy, my favorite sport was always baseball, and I felt like I was a good baseball player. I was always a catcher. That was my main position, a catcher. Now, we played double hitters. I would go to maybe left field. I love playing left field, but I pretty much played every position. Not to say I was good at every one, but when I was coming up, we had teams, and we had some really good teams. But my main position was a catcher. And if there were games we had double hitters, I would go to left field, or if somebody got hurt, I'd fill in those other positions. But I love playing baseball. I enjoyed going to the Jackie Robinson Corey League on the east side. We actually played in a couple of tournaments on the St. Louis side in the Matthew Dickey League, and that was big time as well. But it was really fun times. And when I really got serious about basketball was probably, maybe ninth grade when I got serious about it. And that was really the transition or the helping of my middle school coaches. Because what happens in growing up in East St. Louis, everybody is family. When you're talking to coaches, they all went to school together. So they kind of transitioned me from baseball to basketball. And that's where I really grew to love for basketball. But my true love came with basketball when I was able to play with East St. Louis Lincoln. For me, that was the NBA team when you're growing up, East St. Louis Lincoln basketball.
Yeah.
So that's where it really started.
And Sadal, I know you can relate to me, but when you hear catcher, you think about Yadier Molina, and you know that's a crucial position because you're kind of like a coach on the field. So with that being said, Coach, do you think playing as a catcher developed your leadership skills?
I think so. But I was so young at the time to really say that. But you're able to control the game so much, especially when we got older, because I would signal things to our pitcher. That's when we got older. When I was younger, our third base coach, our bench coach would kind of call the pitches. But when I got older, I was able to maneuver behind the plate, and that was a fun part. But I just think, leadership, you have to grow into that, but you also have to be uncomfortable in leadership. And I was able to be uncomfortable growing up because I wasn't afraid to tell my teammates or my friends certain things in order for us to be successful, and if it would help us grow.
Do you have a question for him, Sadal?
No, you're going to continue with it. I like this line of questioning.
Cool. So going back to leadership, is there someone in your family or a mentor during your younger years that helped you develop, or you just saw them and develop your leadership characteristics that you have now?
I just think for me growing up, obviously watching my mama as she maneuvered, but I had elementary school coaches that I respect and love those guys because my teachers. So when you're young, outside, when you leave the household, the next person you encounter will be your coaches or your school teachers, and I had a love for them like they were my family members because you leaned on their every word. So that is leadership within itself when somebody's teaching you something, teaching you a skill, so you learn those skills. And then most teachers and most coaches, they always have good spirit, so you learn to be positive, you learn to be respectful. And I think I'm talking more than anything, learning how to respect adults. It didn't matter what field or fashion they were in, they were adults, so you had to respect them. So what happens in leadership, you learn how to grow into being positive, to be uncomfortable, to hear criticism, but to deal with it and move forward. So I just think I learned a lot of lessons from so many people in East St. Louis. It's hard to say one, but first and foremost, I would have to say my mom.
That's what's up, man. And it makes me think about the days when I played sports and my mom was at every game, and she didn't make one game because she couldn't find where the place was, and she was so heartbroken, but she was there and she was my rock. So I definitely understand what where you coming from in regards to that coach. Going to high school, you brought up Lincoln / East St. Louis. Tell us about your experience during those years in high school.
Oh, it was great times, man. My teammates, we all stay in touch. To be able to win, I was a part of 2 state championships, and then my senior year, we finished 3rd. Chicago King beat us, and they ended up going to win the championship. I think they might have been 32-0 that year. They were the number 1 team in the country. They were really good. But when I was in high school at the time, East St. Louis, the high school started at the 10th grade. So our middle school, Hughes Quinn Junior High School, was 7th, 8th, and 9th. So when I was in the 9th grade, they won the state championship. So my 10th grade year, we won it. My junior year, we won the state championship. My senior year, we finished 3rd. But it was a tremendous experience, a lot of value. And it was a place where we learned how to appreciate our teammates. We learned how to do the little things. We had love for each other. We all kind of grew up together. So for us, it was like playing with family, and we took a lot of pride in competing for East St. Louis because, again, that was our NBA team, and there were so many great players that came before us. And then to play for a legendary coach like Benny Lewis, who's a wonderful man, a tremendous teacher, a humble guy. He's one of those guys, he doesn't really care about all the praise and all that. All he cares about was us winning and being successful and doing the right things. And I don't think when you're talking college, high school basketball, he doesn't get the credit he deserves, even though he won 4 state championships. But he not only coached us on the floor along with his staff, but those guys also helped us off the court, making sure we get home at night after practice, making sure we able to eat a meal after practice. And also, East St. Louis Lincoln, our high school was surrounded by 5 different projects. Housing, again, not that we were in harm's way, because again, we all grew up together, but oftentimes we don't give the credit where it's due.
Right. How proud are you of how great the East St. Louis football team has looked over the last few years, and the basketball team has got so much respect as well?
Oh, man, I'm happy. Again, I went to East St. Louis Lincoln. East St. Louis Lincoln closed down, I think, maybe I can't remember what year it was. So East St. Louis Senior, that's still home, that's still family. So I root for them and support them. And Coach Sunken has done a tremendous job. And I think it's safe to say he's one of the best high school coaches in the country. And I think that's fair to say when you're talking top 10 or 15 in America, because not only does he develop them, but again, they're winning football games on the field. They're getting guys in college. And so that means they're changing young lives. And I think oftentimes we take for granted just the sport in itself. Okay, they playing sport, he's talented. But I got to make sure this young man stay out of harm's way, do the right things, be consistent with it, go to class. When he get to college, when he's struggling, stay there, learn from those mistakes and keep pushing forward, because eventually that'll be somebody's father and somebody's husband. And he has to continue to live that legacy that so many people that came from East St. Louis produced. And I think Sunken has done a tremendous job, and it might look easy, and he's probably a tremendous mind, but it's not an easy job at all, because, again, once that game is over and once that practice is over, his staff is working around the clock to make sure his players stay out of harm's way.
Right. That's correct. And then once again, the basketball team has been looking very impressive as well. So shouts out to them. So I have a few comments here. Shouts out to Bunny. She has 2 comments here. She says, my 2 cents, I consider coaches just as important as school teachers. Your thought on that?
That's fair. I mean, I think because it's all education. And what happens, again, like I said, when I was growing up, I remember all of my teachers' faces. I enjoyed being around them, and at that time, you probably hugged your teachers when you were younger, because that was you felt like that was family. You leaned on every word. And I think for coaches, we have to understand our platform as coaches. If you're coaching and it's not exhausting, if you're not drained in doing it, then I'm not sure you're doing a great job of it, because it has to consume you. That means on and off the court, their life. You got to make sure they understand accountability. You have to improve their character development. You got to make sure you understand humility, understand what respects mean, being able to tell the truth all the time. And that's hard for young people. I take that back. That's hard for all people. But teaching them to be able to tell the truth and not be afraid to speak their mind, because oftentimes in all walks of life, we struggle with anxiety, stress, fears, psychological issues. We need to, as coaches, understand some kids' space. Well, Coach, you're chewing on me so hard. Coach, I didn't have a meal last night. But Coach, I saw my mom in an abusive relationship. Coach, I have so many things going on. So, Coach, understand where I'm coming from if you're going to chew me out. And then we can go further. But I don't mind you coaching me. I don't mind you critiquing me and criticizing me. But, Coach, make sure you understand what I'm going through in order to help me move forward. So I think as a coach, it's exhausting, but I say that in a positive way. Because if you consume with it, and you understand what I'm saying as a coach, it drains you, believe me, the kids are listening, they feel it, they enjoy it, and there'll be kids, but you want to give them a chance to grow and learn. I think that's the most important thing in coaching. Allow kids to make mistakes. Unfortunately, with social media, our youth can't make mistakes because they're being judged 24/7. That's really unfortunate, because think about it. You have a lot of great young minds, but they're afraid to share themselves because they don't want to be exposed and they don't want to be vulnerable for people laughing at them, criticizing. So I think we as teachers and adults, we have to give them the space to grow and have fun and make mistakes.
And then the second comment from Bunny, she says, "Thank you, Coach COUNZO, and all the coaches for impacting youth and helping them to become young adults."
I thank you. I appreciate her comments.
You know, in that same vein, and I know in the past on our show, we've had a lot of discussion on African-American coaches in sports and particularly in collegiate athletics. As a black coach, obviously, what, if any, has been, how you feel your obligation to other black athletes in collegiate sports to guide them along, not only on the court but off the court?
I think I'm obligated to do right by my job, and that's all walks of life. Of course, I understand who I am and where I come from. So any young man that I encounter, wherever he come from, my job is to pour into him what I perceive are the right things. Again, that's when you're talking about teaching him what it means to give, to have life and live life, to enjoy life, to teach him, in my opinion, what it means to love and how to love. So when he sees me, it's one thing to say, okay, I love you and all that. Okay, that's fine and dandy. But, Coach, when you interact with your wife and your kids, I don't see what that means. That's not the same thing what your mouth says. That doesn't look like the same love. But also to give them hope, to make them believe and have faith that things will work out, things will be great in life. Because, again, as coaches, as teachers, as leaders, we have the blueprint, so to speak, when we're dealing with young minds, and I mean youthful people. So we have to be their lens for 10, 20 years down the road to have them see this vision. So how do we help them see this vision? They have to trust in us. So that means I'm leaning on your every word. So for me as a young guy, I leaned on every word that my coaches said because I loved them like they were family. So what happened, they can send me down the wrong path, and my life could have been different because I leaned and believed on everything they said. But because they cared for me, they told me the right things, and even in tough lessons for me, I still listened. I didn't run from those painful lessons, those painful talks that I had to get better. I had to learn how to shoot. I learned how to get stronger. I dealt with that, and I didn't run from that conversation. I think we have to help our youth. Don't run when times get tough. That's a part of the process. That's a part of your journey, because the beauty is the journey. That's when you write the book, through the journey, not the finish line. You write the book going through the journey. So I learned, years ago, just said, God, give me your toughest assignment. And I just said, give me the strength to fight through this assignment, because I got tired of running. Oftentimes we pray in prayers, just, God, help me with this, help me with this. But I just said, God, give me your toughest assignment. I said, give me the strength to fight through it. And I said, if I fall to my knees, give me the strength to get back up. And if it's will that I never get back and I'm no longer on this earth, I pray that he continue to bless the family that he provided for me. So it's just a matter of having strength and being strong.
Man, so now,
I'm ready to go ahead and play some ball with myself.
Man, let me see if I still have some eligibility left after a couple years.
Right.
This is the Platform Sports Talk Show. Your boy Smooth along with
Sadal.
And on the line we have Coach COUNZO Martin from MIZZOU. So going into high school, you said earlier that your love was baseball and basketball. So what sports did you play when you went to Lincoln High School?
That's funny because, again, I love playing baseball, but what happened, so my high school coach, Benny Lewis, he was also the baseball coach.
Oh.
So we grew up, we grew up, most of the guys, we played baseball, we played basketball. And then you had guys that played football. So when it came down time to baseball practice, Benny more or less, I'm calling Benny, but we call him boss, but Coach Lewis, he more or less made me the manager of the baseball team. So, because again, these are all my guys that were playing. So I was the manager of the baseball team. So I would travel with my guys because, again, we all played baseball and basketball, but just when it came to baseball, I became the manager because he recognized that my main sport is basketball. So, and I enjoyed being the manager, and that guy did a poor job of being the manager. I didn't get the bats when I needed to do the stuff I was supposed to do, but I enjoyed that role. But so that's what it was. So they just kind of transitioned me to basketball.
So now you're playing basketball, freshman Just leaving from playing maybe summer league ball. I'm not sure back then if they had like the big emphasis on AAU ball during the time that you play in before high school. But you go in as a freshman, you seeing what's going on, and you start getting into playing your first year. What kind of ball player were you from your freshman year going into your senior year?
Meaning in college?
In high school.
Okay, so in high school, again, when I was in junior high school, East St. Louis Lincoln, so my junior high school was called Hughes Quinn. So it was 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Okay.
And actually, I had a major knee surgery after the season of my freshman year. And I had to have 2 screws in I still have 2 real screws in my knee since 1987. So, and my biggest thing right before, about to have the surgery, so this was like maybe April of 15, April of 20, somewhere around there. It was in April. And so right before I was about to have the surgery, I just asked the doctor would I be able to play basketball again. That was my biggest concern. So I had the surgery. And back then you had the old white cast with the hard cast on it. And so my biggest thing was I had to do everything in my power to try to get on the floor because I was going to my sophomore year at East St. Louis Lincoln. Now, you're talking about a team that had great teams. LaFonso Ellison just came off a state championship. So now I'm going in as a sophomore trying to crack this starting lineup or even just make the team. And I ended up starting for him and had a great career. So we won the state championship my sophomore year. We won it my junior year. And then we, again, finished third my senior year. And I had a knee surgery. Well, I was supposed to have a knee surgery again in February of my senior year, but it was state tournament time, so I had to fight through it. And if you go back and watch the film, I'm running down the court basically on one leg, but we ended up making it to the state championship, not the state championship, but the state, and we lost in the semifinals. And that was a great experience for us. But, but I feel like I had a great high school career. But we also had great teams. We had talented players. We had guys that went to a lot of Division I schools, but we all keep in touch to this day.
And how would you describe your type of play when you played during those seasons for the state championships?
In high school, I was just, 6'5" slasher. I mean, everything was around the rim. I didn't shoot any three-point shots. I got steals because we ran a diamond press. So it was a 1-2-1-1 press back into a 2-3 zone, and that's how we played. So, and that's probably tough for teams to go against because we were athletic, we were fast, we were talented, we were smart, but we played a diamond press and we fall back in that zone. So we speeding you up and then we slow you down. So even if you scouted against it, was tough to go against, especially my sophomore year when we had LaFonso Ellis, who was 6'10", the number 2 or 3 player in the country at that time, blocking the shots, and he was a heck of a talent. So it was fun to be a part of. And but my game was just really slashing, getting steals. Everything was around the rim because I didn't shoot threes. And I didn't do a lot of dribbling, but just very efficient in how I scored.
Nice. Once again, this is the Platform Sports Talk Show. If y'all have comments, please make sure that y'all leave comments under our pages, Platform Sports Talk Show on Facebook. I know I have a watch party going on under my personal account, Fred Head, but you have to comment under the Platform Sports Talk Show if you are on Facebook. Once again, we have COUNZO Martin here, and also got the original right here with me, Sadal.
Hey, I'm just here, and just happy to be talking with the coach.
Yeah, man, it's good to have you back, man. Special show, Coach. Once again, thank you for your time. So let's go ahead and talk about senior year or possibly junior year, the recruitment process that you had to go through. How was it for you?
Well, I was blessed to be, and again, we AAU was just starting, so they had it out when we were coming out of high school. They had it in LA, they had it in New York, some in Chicago, in major cities. In St. Louis, it was just started, and a guy by the name of Rick Ball, and he's more known as one of the JUCO gurus now, but Rick Ball was one of the first guys that started it in the St. Louis area, so he did a great job corralling the guys and getting us opportunities. So we went to a tournament, I think one time in Chicago, but really for us on the east side, our high school coach, Benny Lewis, he just had us in the gym, man. We had great runs because older guys would come back and we would play, man, normally from like Monday through Thursday. He'd open the gym at probably like 5 or 7 or 8 at night, and we just hooping. And again, you had older guys, you had guys that played with him probably 10, 20 years ago that was physical, was tough, no complaining. And that's when we got our best run. And like that old saying, iron sharpens iron. That's how we got better. We went up against each other, but we also went up against older guys.
Mm-hmm. So you go to Purdue. What was your reason of choosing Purdue, and how many other offers did you have?
Well, I mean, again, I was one of the top. I guess if you ranking guys, one of the top 30, maybe top 30 or 40 guys, and that's really just based off East St. Louis Lincoln, because again, when they were having those other tournaments, we've never gone to tournaments before, AAU tournaments. And people never really came to East St. Louis. We basically played all road games, unless it was Venice, East Side. I'm trying to think of who else maybe came into our place. So we always played road games, and we weren't in the conference. So, and those rankings sort of thing, and not that we even cared about it in there, but we didn't deal with that. But I had offers, everybody offered and that sort of thing. But for me, it came down to I always wanted to go to Illinois because that's where I'm from, and most guys, I thought LaFonso was going to do it. He ended up going to Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. Then they had a situation that took place, so then I just changed up my recruiting, and for me, it came down to Purdue and Connecticut. And at that time, Jim Calhoun was building that Connecticut program, and Coach Katie was doing the same at Purdue. And I enjoyed being with Coach Katie and around Coach Katie. And the one thing that Coach Katie said in recruiting that sticks with me to this day, and he said to my mom, he just said, if he go to class every day, he'll get a degree. And he said, if he work hard, he'll play. Now, again, the recruiting process is longer than that, but those two things have stuck with me even as I do my job. He said, if he go to class every day, he'll get a degree. And if he work hard, he will play. There were no promises. If he work hard, he will play. And then my mom just said, I think that's a good place for you. And it worked out for me. And we have a great relationship still to this day.
That's totally awesome.
Yeah.
So you said in high school you were a slasher, didn't shoot a lot of threes. What type of player were you when you went to Purdue?
Well, that's what I was when I went there. Now, the problem was when I went to Purdue, again, so I went from being a slashing four-man to now I had to play on the perimeter at Purdue. So that means dribbling the ball, shooting three balls. So my first year, I struggled early my freshman year, and then probably the last 10 games, I got a lot better. My game improved. I worked on my shot. I really worked hard. And then, but I never shot. I shot 1-3. I shot a half-court three-point shot when the clock was running out. So my sophomore year, I shot 6 3-pointers, maybe in the first 7, 8, 9, 10 games. And Coach Katie pulled me to the side and he said, Zoe, don't shoot any more threes. And he meant for the whole season. Now you talk, it really, so I didn't shoot any more threes. And it just, because if that's, now was I upset about it? Probably so. But again, if he's the coach and that's what he expected, it was my job to do my job. But what I took from that, he didn't say don't score the ball. He didn't say don't play hard, don't play defense, just don't shoot any more threes. And I didn't shoot any more the rest of the season. But I scored 32 points at Indiana, who was a great team. I made 15 shots, only missed 2, but all 2-point baskets. So I just made myself a better player than going into my junior year, that summertime. And at the time, it was a lot of shots. I would shoot 500 shots a day. And again, that's one workout nowadays. But I would shoot 500 shots a day, and I ended up breaking the school record in 3-point shots. And I still hold the record for percentage. And I made 179 in 2 years, and I just really worked to become a better basketball player because it was tough out there when guys didn't defend me on the perimeter. So I had to make myself, because I could defend, I could play hard, and I could do all those things. But I wanted to become a better shooter, and I put the time into it, and it worked out for me. And I feel like I was a great college role player. I was blessed to play in high school with LaFonso Ellis, who was a tremendous player in person. And I was blessed to play in college with Glenn Robinson, the big dog.
Yes.
Who was my roommate and a great friend. So I've been blessed to play with some great ones.
I was going to bring him up next.
Yeah, that consistency that we were talking about with the show, and it's all about consistency and hard work when you're in anything that you do, and that's a testament right there.
Correct. Yeah. And how important is it, Coach, to have your kids see the rewards? Because you have so many kids nowadays who feel like they should have everything fair to them, be spoiled. But to me, it's so important that the kids see the hard work and then see the reward. Do you agree with that, Coach?
Oh, without question. So I think what happens is, I think first and foremost, that starts at home. And what I mean by that is, for the most important thing for me, and a lot of times when I speak, I go off my experiences. But the person that poured the most life into me was my mom. My grandmother lived in St. Louis. She poured life into me. It was a very strong spiritual woman. She poured life into me. So those people gave me strength. So that's where I got it from. So now it would be hard for you to knock me down because they gave me life. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's very important that you continue to pour life into them. But I think it starts at home, the encouragement that you're doing a great job, or you're beautiful, you're handsome. We have to continue to do that at home. So when they get outside, I already know I'm beautiful. So when I talk to my sons when they were young, I would say they're handsome. You're a handsome young guy, man. I'm happy for you, beautiful young guy. And they knew when I meant beautiful as guys. You know, most guys, when they get older, they don't want to hear me saying beautiful. But when they were young, I would say that. My daughter, I say, you're beautiful. I mean, but you're pouring life into them.
Right.
And I think that is very important to speak life to them, to give them confidence, to make them feel good about themselves, because this world can be a tough place when you leave that household. Sometimes it's a battlefield. So who's going to lift me up during my bad days?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Bunny has another question. She says, Coach COUNZO, what's the biggest difference of recruiting from when you were recruited and how you recruit now?
Oh, the biggest difference, I mean, everybody's style is different, but I think when I was coming out, the culture was you didn't just up and transfer. You didn't necessarily, I don't want to use the word quit, but you were used to fighting. You know, you fought through something, it was understood. I think the culture nowadays, and not that when young men, and I'm not sure the women's side, the percentage of when they transfer in the league, I don't think they're quitters, but I want to find something better, because what happens is, for me, my college, high school coaches, they didn't give me a lot of pats on the back. Oh, you're doing great, you're doing great. When I did good, it was great. You did bad, you did bad. But I understood there will be tough times because they made me aware of that. Mm-hmm. I think what we have to do to our youth nowadays is understand this is going to be tough when you go to college. It's going to be hard. You will have struggles. That doesn't mean you're a bad person. That doesn't mean you're not a good player. That means you have to go through this in order to get where you're trying to go. So I think those are the things that have to be talked about when they get to these levels. So for me, and I'll tell you a story. And my mom, when I played at Purdue my freshman year, now again, I was thinking about going to Illinois, but I chose to go to Purdue. So we played Illinois in the first or second conference game, and I played, I think, 45 seconds, maybe a minute in the whole game. And here you're talking about one of the top guys in the country, and I played, again, 45 seconds to maybe a minute and 15. So now you're talking about upset, angry, and all that. And again, I wouldn't demonstrate it to the coaches. So, and my mom was at the game. So after the game, my mom, she had Hallmark cards, and they still make Hallmark cards. She had Hallmark cards. I know she gave one to Coach Katie. I'm not sure if she gave one to the assistant. And then when she came to me, because we were getting on the bus, because Purdue from Champaign is like a 2-hour drive. So when we get on the bus, she saw me, and she just gave me a hug and kiss, and she said, are you reading your Bible? Mm-hmm. And I said, yes. And that was it. So it was a hug and kiss, and that was it. It wasn't like, why aren't you playing? Watch it. That was it. Mm-hmm. So for me, that was understood. I had to make it work, because what am I going back home to do? Mm-hmm. We fighting to make ends meet this end. You got to make this work where you at. You understand what it takes to make it work. Do what we've taught you all this time, and you'll be okay. And that's what it really came down to. So for me, I had to continue to push forward. I couldn't let up. I had to keep going forward. And by the grace of God and prayers and my mom being strong, and because, again, she saw my eyes, she could have easily said, what's going on? Right. And like to this day, my college coach, we laugh and joke. My mom never gave him a call. Why didn't he play? Because she already did her job. You know what to do from this point on.
Take it forward.
Yeah, that's the way it should be.
Yes, I love it. I love it. So you brought up earlier playing at Indiana. And you know, on the other end of the bench, especially in Indiana, or maybe anywhere you played him, you faced off against Bobby Knight. Tell us about that experience of facing him. Were there any kind of intimidation, or were you just looking over like just laughing, like, man, I got to go through all this stuff with him? How did it feel playing against Coach Bobby Knight?
Well, you know, there was no intimidation, because again, where I'm from, it's just basketball. You out there competing. Now they had great players, but it's basketball. I had pretty good games against Indiana. It was a tremendous place to play, a very tough place to play, because he was a great coach. They had great players. Mm-hmm. That was the only place I never won at in the Big Ten. But yeah, it was that. But he had an edge to him, he had a toughness to him. But the thing that people don't realize, all the years that he and Coach Katie battled head to head, Coach Katie has 21 wins and he has 20 against each other. So that's the part that people don't realize. We did a great job in the Big Ten, but again, they were really good and they had great players.
Yeah.
He's got that one up, literally, over him.
You can never take that away from him.
Nope.
Were there any games that at the time Bobby Knight may have had a few technical calls against him?
He might have had one or two against us, but again, you're talking about a rivalry, so the energy level was high. And you know, people remember, you know, Bob Knight, but also Coach Katie was a fiery guy that had the energy the same way. So both those guys, they created a lot of fanfare. So people came to see those guys perform just as well as the players.
Right. You brought up Big Dog Robinson. How was it being a teammate of his, and how the team was during that time with him?
Oh, good guy, man. Again, he grew up in Gary, Indiana. I grew up in East St. Louis, so very similar backgrounds, but a good guy, a very talented player. And again, I was blessed to play with LaFonso Ellis, Glenn Robinson. Then, you know, another guy, younger guy who I thought had resemblances of Glenn Robinson was, you know, Michael Porter Jr. But, you know, but Glenn was he was a tremendous scorer, and he had a toughness level. He had an edge to him. I mean, think about it. I don't think a guy's averaged 30 points a game in high school college since him. He averaged 30 points and 10 rebounds and maybe 2 blocks and 1 or 2 steals a game. I mean, and that was before guys just really start going to draft early. So you're talking about high level talent that he was going against every night.
Mm-hmm. So now, leave from college and you get drafted to the NBA by the Atlanta Hawks, correct?
Yes.
How was that process? Because we've had a few guests on our show. One was Butler Banote. He went to Ohio State of all teams, and then he got drafted by the Broncos. And he told me that his draft experience wasn't the greatest. We recently had a few weeks ago Jahadi White. He said that his experience, even Chris Kerwell and Lauren Wood said the same thing, that their experience getting drafted wasn't the best. How about for you, Coach?
Oh, it was great for me, and the reason why it was great for me, because, again, I go back to when I had my first knee surgery in 87. So I had 2 pins in my knee. That was 87. Then my second surgery, Coach Katie ended up taking me at Purdue. And like, I'll never forget, the doctor and the trainer said he might play a year at best. And I ended up playing 4 years best. So, and then I had my third knee surgery, maybe October of my senior year. And that part, that was tough because I was so exhausted. And it was like, man, the rehab and trying to get better and all that was so tough. So my prayer was just to really finish my senior season, and I was blessed to make first team All Big Ten. I should have won Big Ten Player of the Year, and I say that with all respect and humility. And so now, truthfully, so when it came down to it, time to get drafted, I just simply prayed to God allow me to hear my name being drafted, because I knew I couldn't go long because of my knees and the damage over years of wear and tear. So I just prayed God allow me to see or hear my name being called, and my name was called the 57th pick. And then, you know, you get greedy, I guess, and I prayed that God allow me to play in a game. So I played in several games, and it was a real blessing. But I understood that it wouldn't be long for me, so I didn't feel the anxiety or the stress or state of depression when I had to stop playing the game, or, you know, so I was okay with it because I knew my time was coming. So I prayed through it because I didn't want to be one of those guys that were angry and upset and hard to deal with life because it didn't work out when it came to basketball.
So what led you to coaching?
Coach Katie. Coach Katie called me. He just said, I had just signed a contract to go play in Italy, so I was leaving about 2 weeks. 2 weeks before I was leaving, Coach Katie called me. He said, I'll have a job for you. But it's the next year. So basically I had to go back to finish school. So I canceled the contract to go back to play in Italy. And I had the opportunity to coach, but I had to finish the school year. So because when I was in college, I never went to summer school. Normally with summer school, you can get, you know, 12 or 18 hours. But I never went to summer school because I was working a construction level job and different jobs. So I was able to send money home. So I never went to summer school. So I had to go back and finish up. So when I got my degree in 1999, 2000, Coach Katie hired me on, and it worked out. It was great.
Coach Katie. So what moment? Well, let's start off because I believe that you started as an assistant coach at Purdue, and then you went over to Missouri State, and then Tennessee,
Yes.
Cal, and then Mizzou. So,
Yes.
what moment, as you began coaching, did you realize that that was what was meant for you?
Coaching.
Yes.
I think that's a work in progress. That's every day. I'm blessed to do this, and I'm grateful to do this, and to be able to do so when you help change young lives, and to be able to get a salary for doing this. So I'm grateful for that part. But I just think, for me, it's just changing young lives, helping young men become men, so they're able to provide for their families and not only have jobs but successful careers. So I think that's for me. But so to say what moment, I don't think I've arrived. I think it's a work in progress every day because you continue to grow into it and learn. And I love learning. I love growing, and I love listening. And it just even from my players and just reading books and all that. So for me, it's just I don't know if it's a ride because there's so much life to live. I'm only 48 years old. God willing, I get to 49 and continue to grow. I'm not sure if I'll be doing this at 60 years old. I don't know that, but it's every day. It's just a work in progress. You can lose your job. You can do something else. And for me, I'm just grateful for the gifts that God gave me because if I'm here or somewhere else, I still have the gifts that he gave me, and the gifts travel with me. So I have to make sure I maintain that and understand that and continue to appreciate that and foster that.
Mm-hmm. I definitely understand that. You got a question?
Yeah. So we all know recruiting is the lifeblood of college sports. When you go out and recruit young athletes, what are some of the attributes that you look for in an athlete when you recruit them on your team?
Well, I think, of course, everybody when recruiting, you want to acquire good talent. Of course, that you want. You hear coaches, different coaches have philosophies and sayings on character, but I think for a young guy, you like to have a decent young guy, but you don't really truly know your character until you grow into it over a course of time. So it's hard for me to judge somebody at 16, 17, 18 when they haven't really experienced life, they haven't really been away from home, they haven't been exposed to a lot of adversity when they're not under their parents' umbrella. So to say somebody has great character or bad character, I think it's unfair to young men and women at that age until they really go through something and see what life is about. So, but you like to have a decent person. But I just think the thing for me, guys that want to be good teammates, guys that understand what it means to sacrifice. Yeah, everybody want to be a great player. Everybody want to be a pro at our level. And I understand that. But in order to get all those things, there has to be a level of sacrifice. Now, again, God blesses certain guys with different gifts and different level of gifts. Some are tremendous scorers, jumpers, fast, whatever that is. But in the process, let's try to figure out all these things with 13 scholarship guys to become one. And that's not an easy task.
Mm-hmm. Once again, we have MIZZOU men's basketball head coach COUNZO Martin on the show. This definitely has been a great interview. Definitely appreciate your time, absolutely, Coach, of doing this. I know you've been so busy doing so many things, so definitely appreciate you being. So, I mentioned earlier, Purdue, Missouri State, Tennessee. If you can, best player that you have coached thus far.
In my career?
Yes.
Best player. Kyle Williams at Missouri State was a special player. He's a special guy. Jordan, and it's hard to say one guy. Jordan McCray was an elite scorer at Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Of course, Jaylen Brown and Ivan Rabb at Cal. And then you're talking, obviously Michael Porter, if he's healthy, one of the best shooters, scorers at 6'10" that I've been around. The guy could reel off 7 live game with somebody's pressuring him. So it's hard to say one guy's because your level is your level. Because again, to compare Kyle Williams to Michael Porter, it's not fair because they didn't play against each other. They were on the same team. But Kyle Williams was a great player at Missouri State who ended up being Conference Player of the Year as a junior. Mm-hmm. So Jordan McCray was the elite scorer who's in the NBA right now.
Right.
Jaylen Brown, obviously, Ivan Rabb, talented players. Michael Porter, Jonte Porter. You're talking about some very talented guys, man. So it's hard to say one, and it wouldn't be fair if I did that. And there's several guys that I'm naming that played tremendous roles in order for our teams to be successful.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I brought up earlier about having Jahadi White on the show, on Lauren Wood and Chris Carwell on the same show, and I asked them this question when they were getting recruited. They were saying how they had the offers from SLU and from other, of course, big time colleges, and then I asked them about MIZZOU, and they said that they really wasn't. It wasn't really appealing during that time with Norm Stewart because of there was this big thing about trying to acquire locals from the St. Louis area, East St. Louis, etc., the black players. How are you, or what are you doing differently to change that mindset at MIZZOU to get local guys to say, you know what, MIZZOU is now an option for me compared to what it was back in the early 90s?
Well, again, I can't speak for Coach Stewart and his staff, but they won conference championships back then. Mm-hmm. So to say it wasn't appealing, was not appealing, I'm not sure why. Because '94 they were undefeated in the conference. So again, I have to be in a room where each guy is speaking specifically about what happened or didn't happen or what they didn't see. So I want to be respectful of that space. But they won championships back then, and again, for me, and I'm not trying to come off as like I'm selling something, but if I'm in the state and I have to look at what I didn't understand when I was growing up, jobs and opportunities after college. Now, if you sitting there and said I'll be a top 5 pick in the draft, it doesn't matter where I'm going to school, that's fine. But if you're going to be a top 5 pick in the draft, why not go local? Why not the state school? But you also have to look at the jobs and opportunities after college. I think those things are very important. When you're looking at schools, look at the percentage of guys that come from out of state that have jobs and opportunities in that state, because you probably have guys on that roster from that state. Look at the opportunities of the coach. If you're not going to be a pro, is he helping you get a job so you can have a successful career? Because it's one thing to get a degree, but coach, I need a call to help me get the job. Mm-hmm. Is the coach doing that? So again, I've learned all these things, and I've really learned a lot of valuable lessons when I went out to school at Cal Berkeley, when I coached out there, because at the time, and maybe still is, it was the #1 public institution in the world, and it taught me a lot of lessons about really for our student athletes valuing their education, not just getting a degree, but helping them have a successful life and a successful career. So if you're choosing a school, and if you're solely choosing it for basketball, then you're not making a very smart decision, in my opinion. You have to look at all encompassing what makes this school special. How can this school help me 10, 20 years down the road? And I think those are the things that we have to help our young men and women with, making those type of decisions.
Absolutely.
Got you.
Bunny have a question there.
Yes, Bunny has a great question. She come with the questions, Coach. She's very, very knowledgeable, loves sports so much. She has, what are your predictions, in quotation marks, of how many more women coaches, assistant or head coach, will be on the coaching bench for men's college basketball programs and in the NBA over the next 10 years?
Oh, I think that'll continue to grow. And one thing about the NBA, that they've been adamant about that, and they're really promoting it. But again, those women coaches are also qualified. So let's be clear about that, because I was blessed to work with out of Cal Berkeley. We worked out of Cal. Lindsay Gottlieb, we worked out of Cal Berkeley. She does a tremendous job. She's a wonderful person. She's with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So again, they also qualify. So it's not, let's give a handout to the women coaches. They're very successful. They understand the game. They have the same level of passion, toughness, coachability, all those things. So I think it continues to progress. I interviewed a female coach when I was out at Cal Berkeley, but it just didn't work out because I went in a different direction. But I have no problem with it at all. And I think it's a beautiful thing, because ultimately you want to hire who's qualified, not whether it's male or female, what color they are. You want a qualified coach.
That's correct. Mm-hmm. So speaking of coaches, on the football side, Eli Drinkowitz, he comes in and he's making noise for MIZZOU. From your point of view, seeing the noise that he's brought in, bringing in all these local, even around the country as well, making noise, doing something different for the football organization, and you sitting back, what are your thoughts on what he's doing for MIZZOU at this time, even before the very first game has started for him?
I'm happy for him because, again, I'm happy first and foremost because he represents MIZZOU athletics. That's first and foremost. Now, every recruit, I follow football, so I see it. So I'm happy from that standpoint, just because it's our athletic department. and I'm happy because in my opinion, again, I'm still getting to know him. He appears to be a good man, so I'm happy for that standpoint, and I still have great relationship with guys that he kept on his staff, so I'm happy for all those reasons, man. But again, it would be the same thing if it was golf, soccer, because it represents Mizzou, so that makes me happy because we're all part of the same family.
Mm-hmm. And when you see what he's doing, even I know you don't need that motivation, but does it fire you up even more to just want to do more when you see what he's doing already?
I don't know. It means do more. That means you should already be doing more.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I look at that. I mean, I tend to work at a level and push myself every day. So I'm not sure to do more. I like to think I consistently do more and to the best of my ability.
Got you. So your first year at Mizzou, and I said at the intro how I was just going bananas that Mizzou hired you. What was your thought process when Jim Sturck reached out to you about the position? Because I know Illinois was an option at that time as well, but you chose Mizzou. What was your thought process? What kind of like narrowed things down to say, you know what, let's choose the Mizzou route?
It was a tremendous opportunity. It's a great university. It has a lot of history. Wonderful players that have played here. I was born in St. Louis. I grew up on the east side. So you're talking about being familiar with the area, the people, the history of the program, great players, watching them from afar growing up. So I thought it was a tremendous opportunity. I was part of it.
Nice. So once again, we do have Coach COUNZO Martin from Mizzou. Great show. Appreciate once again your time. As I said before, you came in. You brought in Michael Porter Jr. Then Jonte came in and reclassified. Tillman. Then here comes Blake Harris. You had a lot of 5-star, 4-star guys coming in. The buzz was crazy at Mizzou. Everyone was buying season tickets. Mizzou was about to be the craziest hotbed that we haven't seen since the Denman, Kim English era. And then Iowa State happens, game 1, and your star player, Michael Porter Jr., finds out that he can't play. What went through your mind during that time?
When it actually happened, not sure that I was really was aware of what happened, because it was literally right before we were about to go out. So it was 6 minutes before we were about to tip. And Mike, he just said, "Coach, I don't think I can go because my leg." And so I'm like, so I just told the coach, "Okay, let's get somebody in the starting lineup for Mike or whatever. Just let him check." So that's what it was. So it didn't really dawn on me to really after the game, because adrenaline, you're getting ready for the first game, energy and all that. But it was literally 6 minutes or so before we were about to tip. But after the game, when the smoke clears, then you start to realize it's a real issue, and then you kind of go from there. So it's really, in the end, you felt for him because, again, I watched him up close in practice. I watched the things that he was doing. Just an elite scorer, can put the ball in the basket, play with energy, can do a lot of things. So it was a shame that the country couldn't see the player that he was. And again, I think you'll see him at the NBA level.
Yeah, because he's definitely shining now. And my other co-host who couldn't be here today, Stan, he'll tell you that I was like the #1 Michael Porter Jr. fan when I saw that he committed to Mizzou. And I just looked at what he can do for that team and help everybody else out as well. And just unfortunate that he really couldn't fulfill all that. I actually went to see his first game when y'all played against Georgia in the SEC tournament. And, of course, he was himself. But it just really sucked to me because I was like, man, I can't wait to see what he's going to do.
Yeah.
He's going to elevate this university, which he sort of kind of did, Coach. He brought more attention because I saw that, like,
no question.
Right, the very next year, you saw him still trying to recruit other guys to come to Mizzou.
No question. I mean, again, he brought great energy. I mean, he really changed the trajectory of the program, even though he didn't play a lot, but just his energy and his passion. That was great, man, and I'll forever be grateful to him for that.
Right. And with him playing with the Nuggets, do you still have any type of relationship with him? Do you stay in constant contact with him every now and then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, every now and then text them all the other. Yeah, no question.
Good. So, how would you, just from the outside looking in, how would you rate or feel that your time at Mizzou has been so far? Because for me, looking in, it's been every year there's been something that's held you back in regards to an injury. So the expectation that people may have had for Mizzou to get over that hump, it hasn't gotten there yet. But how do you feel your tenure so far has been at Mizzou?
For me, I think it's been great, and I say great from the standpoint of dealing with adversity, and because you never want to make excuses, but when you have key players miss in 3 years 134 games, that's a lot of games with guys that you count on that miss games. So it's hard to be clicking on all cylinders when you lose that level of players in major games. And you're talking about being in the great conference. And before this year, the SEC had 2 historic back-to-back years as far as getting multiple teams, 8 teams in the tournament. So you're talking a great league. But I think if we're healthy, we're just as good as anybody. I've said that the last 2 years. When I feel like Jonte would have been the best player in the conference. Mm-hmm. I feel great about our team right now, and I've said it for, I guess, 3 or 4 years now. If we're healthy, we're as good as anybody. I think that's the biggest key. You have to be healthy. And I think you take 1 or 2 key players off any team, they're a different team. And again, I don't want to use that as an excuse, but that's the truth. It's hard to click the level you need to click that if you got key guys missing so many games.
Mm-hmm. So, Mizzou versus, well, before I ask that question, what are you looking forward to with this upcoming season? We know that the previous season was cut short due to the pandemic, but what are you looking forward to, and what should fans look forward to if everything is well for the upcoming season?
Well, we're fighting to win the conference championship in the SEC. I think that's the most important thing. That's first and foremost, because you have the personnel to do it. And then you kind of go from there after that. But I think the biggest thing, and hopefully that we'll have a season. And again, for us, the part is to win the SEC. That's why you do it.
That's why you do it. They brought back the Mizzou KU series, Kansas.
Oh, yes.
University of Kansas. How does that make you feel? And I know the Missouri faithful has to be elated about this.
Great, man. I think, and that's one thing I've said to recruits, when you're talking in the month of December, with the Kansas game and the Illinois game, those are probably sort of top 10 biggest games in all of college basketball in the month of December, and we actually been a part of 2 of them. That's impressive. So, and I think that's tremendous energy. And also, when you're talking St. Louis and Kansas City, so that's a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, especially for Mizzou fans.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. Look forward to
seeing
them
play. I hate the Jayhawks so bad. I really do.
And I always like seeing, of course, seeing KU play at Mizzou, but just going out to KU, playing at that stadium, that arena. I look forward to getting that matchup again. That's gonna be
shutting that crowd up.
Yes, it should be great television, great drama. I look forward to it, Coach. Black Lives Matter. You've been such an advocate, pushing it so much stronger than you have before. What does that mean to you?
Well, I think when you say Black Lives Matter, that's what it simply means. Black Lives Matter. And I think it's unfortunate that we have to break it down so minute when you say Black Lives Matter. We're human. We're human beings. We have rights as people. I think that's very important, and we have to fight for equality. You have to fight for really improve our criminal justice system. We also have to fight for hiring practices. We have to do a better job of hiring, because it's hard to live a peaceful life when you don't have any opportunities. So if I don't have opportunities to provide for my family, then how do you expect me to provide for my family? I think that's first and foremost. Then when you're talking education, because we talk a lot about education, which is very important, but education, but also I need to have jobs and I need to have opportunities, but educate me about the right things. Because I think oftentimes we think everybody is equipped to go to college. Not everybody wants to go to college. So with that being said, help me with skills and crafts. I mean, I can be a carpenter, I can be roofing, I can be in the plumbing, I can be in so many avenues. Help me create jobs and opportunities so I can provide for my family. And I think those are the most important things. Everybody has a level of peace and comfort and prosperity when they're able to provide for their loved ones. And then what happens, I simply said, if I'm not able to provide for my loved ones, how do you expect me to provide for them?
On a lighter note, I know on the platform we like to throw out some lighter questions and some fun questions, and I like to throw out one to you to kind of test your, kind of see where your recruiting mindset is at. Okay, so we like to do a thing called "What If." So if you could see a situation where you can recruit 2 players, right? You can only recruit one of the players, and the other player is going to play against the rival conference team. All right. Now, these two players have never played in college, so you don't know anything about them. You don't know the future, what the future has for them. All you know is what they've done in high school, of course. Now, the 2 players are Kobe Bryant and LeBron James. Who are you picking and why?
And I'm picking them for a college team or NBA team.
You're picking them for your team, and the other player that you don't recruit is playing for your conference rival.
College.
Your college, yeah.
I think I would go with LeBron.
Oh.
Because I think Kobe was a tremendous scorer, fierce competitor. But I think LeBron makes everybody better. I think LeBron makes the teams go. He brings the energy, brings the excitement. He's a guy that can play all 5 positions. I just think he makes you go. And you think about when it's all said and done, he'll be 1 and 2, maybe 3 in all statistical major categories when he hangs his boots up. So I would have to say, in my opinion, LeBron. And I really enjoyed Kobe because he's a fierce competitor, tremendous worker, tremendous scorer. But I would have to go with LeBron.
And I think that's so underrated. People tend to forget that LeBron is about his teammates.
Exactly.
Everyone thinks about the Jordan and Kobe, of course, the scoring mentality, but people tend to forget a lot of times that LeBron would rather make everybody else look good before he looks good.
Yeah. Yeah. But you got to know.
And I'm not saying Kobe and Mike were bad teammates. Now,
right.
You saw that obviously, but so if they character off the floor is different, that's fine. I'm simply talking about on the floor. I think both those guys tremendous score. Mike won 6 championships. Kobe won 5, so they're great players.
Mm-hmm.
I just think when you're talking college, I think LeBron could have brought more to the table for what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
My last question. Dave Matter brought up a post or a tweet a couple days ago, I believe, that you have started a minority leadership foundation. Please explain to those watching the cause of that foundation.
Well, I didn't start it. I was just a part of it.
Okay.
John Calipari kind of spearheaded, and I had some say in it and that sort of thing. But I think it's a great opportunity for colleges to get student athletes, in most cases, but not all, to have opportunities after they've graduated to be a part of athletic departments, and not necessarily so we get somebody here at MIZZOU. It's not necessarily for somebody to be with men's basketball. They can be in ticket office, they can be in the academics, they can be in administration, but learning all encompassing in an athletic department so they can understand those administrative skills. Because how it started, as coaches, we talk about, especially in college basketball, we have 8 Power 5, black head coaches. So we talk about different ways, and these are all coaches talking about different ways trying to make this better. So we say, how do we improve that? So one thing I've been adamant about for the last 2 or 3 years, I said the way you improve it is by putting people in position to do the hiring. So now who's better than your former players to be put in positions 10, 15 years down the road to make decisions? So now you create more diversity in the hiring practices, and that's how you have more opportunities. So that's how it kind of started. So putting people in positions to make decisions, and that's really pretty much the bottom line of it.
That's it right there,
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
Well, Coach, I know that you have to go. We appreciate your time. This really, very, very much meant a whole lot to me and to our show to have you on. Continued success. I look forward to, hopefully, with the pandemic calming down eventually. If it does, I look forward to seeing some more MIZZOU basketball. I hope to make it out there to Columbia, or when y'all are coming to the Lou for the Illinois game or other games in the future. Best success to you, Coach, and thank you very much.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right, you have a good evening. All right. That was Coach COUNZO Martin. How did it feel talking to him, man?
It was awesome, really great interview. And I can see why he can recruit such talented, quality athletes because, just listen to his passion for coaching and recruiting is evident.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, just hearing the conversations. Why would you not want to play with this man?
Yeah, I wanted to suit up, play.
I had some other questions lined up, but we know that he had to go.
Yeah.
But man, great answers, and he makes you want to just go through a big raw for him.
Absolutely.
And I see why MIZZOU brought him in, and even during those times where he had to go through so much adversity that he has. The first year, Michael Porter Jr., couldn't play. Then second year, John C. Porter. Then third year, you had some aggression from some of his players that he expected more of, but the team still fought for him.
Hey, and the way I see it, tough times don't last always.
Right.
There's going to be a breakthrough.
Hey, prime example, look at the St. Louis Blues.
Yes.
I always say that. I always stress, look at the St. Louis Blues and all the time that they have gone through so much, almost getting there.
Almost there.
And
And
then
faltered.
what happened last year? There it is. Here we go.
They won it all.
There it is, right there, y'all. Well, they didn't win the bottle. They won a finish.
They
won
celebrated
a
with
cup.
it.
They won that thing there. So that's awesome, man.
And for a short time there, it was going to be looking like they're 2020 champions too.
right.
Right.
But they are currently doing training right now at the Centene Practice Center, and then they'll be going to Edmonton to be in the bubble. They're gonna have a bubble in Edmonton and I believe Toronto. So you'll have like the Western Conference.
Kind of like what the NBA is doing.
NBA only has one hub.
Oh, okay, that's just Orlando.
Right.
Okay.
But hockey will have two. So you have your Western Conference going to one spot and Eastern going into another spot. Bunny says, LGB, let's go Blues.
Yeah.
The entire song, I need that bottle. Nah, this bottle here, we can't take any other bubbly.
Oh no, my sister, you got to get your own.
Shouts out to B Baker. He's the one who bought that bottle over here, man.
Yeah.
So shouts out to him. But yeah, once again, great interview. Like I said, how can you not want to play with it? Coach?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm a firm believer, like you said earlier, about hard work pays off.
Absolutely.
There's going to be that season where he's going to be there, and they get to that level that everyone expected when they brought in Michael Porter Jr. in them the first year.
All it takes is just that momentum.
Yeah.
Where that one spark.
Yeah.
That one game.
And then
that one moment in it. And a little bit of luck there.
You got to have luck.
But luck is when opportunity and preparation meet.
Yep. But put your team in position, and like I said before, you have to be healthy too.
Yeah.
And that's why I refer to the luck part, because he been in bad luck. Mm-hmm. And I want to bring that up more, but like I said, I know he had to go. But he's been given that bad luck broom every now and then, and hopefully he can start getting to that point where they can stay healthy. The team will progress and make some noise in the SEC, and then hit the big dance up. Like, let's dance, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's dance, baby. So this is the Platform Sports Talk Show, the original two.
Yes.
Tonight, your boy Smooth along with
Sadal.
Shouts out to Stan. He couldn't be here tonight. Had to take care of some personal business, so hopefully he'll be back next week. So I wanted to go back to a story before we got the coach on the line. WNBA. Now, a few weeks ago, months ago, the players from the WNBA, they were pushing for equal rights pay.
Yeah. Yep.
And they won that. They finally got that going on.
Oh wow. Okay.
And now, when they make road trips, they get better hotels, they get better treatment.
As it should be.
You know what I'm saying?
As it should be.
So now we got an issue because the WNBA 2019 MVP, Elena Deladon, she has Lyme disease.
Wow.
So when she brought this up to the league and the league doctors, they pretty much pushed it off as, oh, it's not high risk. So
Come on,
keep on playing. No big deal. The whole nine. You'll be okay. You just take a couple of meds. You just shrug it off and do your thing. Mind you, she still won the MVP. She put out a letter in the Athletes Tribune,
The Players Tribune.
Players Tribune. Thank you very much. In which she stated that she now has to take 64 pills a day for her Lyme disease, and is worried because she's a known commodity for the league, that they won't give her an exempt so she can work on her health. Because for what I was told, I think I saw pardon the interruption, Tony Kornheiser was saying that WNBA players only get paid when they play.
Oh wow.
So if you're not playing,
you don't get,
and you're not given an exempt, you ain't getting paid. They're forcing her to possibly play.
Don't they have a WNBA Players Association?
Whatever,
Just like any other major league.
whatever
They need
have,
someone. They need someone representing these players.
Whatever they have is not working, because that should not be acceptable. That now she's taking 60 because she was told that it's not a high risk issue. But
They
now
need to get somebody like Cheryl Miller or Cheryl Swoops or somebody to get it to start up a union or something, man.
Yeah, so she says that after the league doctors ruled that she wasn't high risk. So she's worried if she was just some whatever player, not a big name, not getting sponsored, just like not that 13th person on the bench, then, oh yeah, go take your exempt. You're good. But because of her status being so known, she's worried that she may not even get that. And that's crazy.
You know, I mean, I don't know if Adam Silver has anything to do with the WNBA.
No, he doesn't. No. They have their own commissioner.
Okay, well, I was
But
gonna say
he needs to be, huh?
yeah, I mean, that's a shame.
Yeah.
But you can't expect them to be for the players. That's why you have unions.
Yeah.
That's why you have people that represent these players. And I think if they don't have any representation, or if they do, they need to find something better for them, and fight for those kind of rights and privileges that the men have.
Yeah.
Because this wouldn't be a question if LeBron James
Oh, no.
had a disease or
Oh no. Oh yeah. That makes sure he's taken care of.
right.
Yeah. Oh no. Take your time, LeBron. Or take your time.
Oh, yeah. Kawhi Leonard,
Giannis, onto the Kupo. Take your time.
Yeah.
But yeah, because of you're in a WNBA, it's different standards to it. So that's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Earlier we discussed, the whole Jimmy Butler incident in which he's not having not Jimmy Butler, but LeBron James not having the last name, having his last name but not a social statement. Then we had Kawhi Leonard saying it's all about what you do, not about the last name. So your boy from Undisputed, Skip Bayless.
Skip, come on, Skip.
Skip Bayless felt a little bit different about that. And
boy, what did he say?
He's talking from, as he stated, well, you know what? I'll just have him go ahead and explain.
Here is another disappointment for me, strictly from a white perspective, because I believe that a whole lot of white people who love the NBA are going to be on their edge of the seats when these games, we hope, start back again at the end of this month. And the white community needs to be bombarded with constant messages that relate to Black Lives Matter. The white community needs to be reminded again and again and again that Black lives matter and matter and matter and matter, because this conversation needs to be kept ablaze, not just be kept going, but kept afire, because this country has been on fire with a whole new racial sensitivity over the last couple of months. And I looked forward especially to seeing what LeBron chose to wear on as his message on his back. And the NBA took that out of his hands because the NBA decided to issue an approved list that I still cannot fathom at this time of personalized individual expression of freedom, that they would say, no, you have to pick one of these. And I do not blame LeBron, especially for saying, I have to pick one of these.
Well, Skip, I guess in basketball they said in certain contexts, freedom have limits. So we're gonna limit this to 15 phrases or slogans.
We talked about all the potential motivation for that. But the point was, LeBron said publicly, they did not ask for my input. And he just said, okay, I'll go with my name on my back. He was basically saying, I'll go with nothing on my back. But of all people, of all champions for racial justice versus racial injustice, that man I wanted to hear, because he's clever, he's creative. He would have come up with a slogan or an expression or a message that would have resonated. You know, and I know he would have. Again, he doesn't need to pick one from approved list, because that's too run of the mill for him. He's not run of the mill, right?
Thoughts on Skip Bayless?
I actually was surprised. I thought I was worried about what he was going to say, but hey, he hit the nail on the head. Skip, I can't believe it.
And
I actually agree with Skip Bayless,
especially when he said that the white community needs to see all these players stressing the importance of what's going on during these times.
If you would have told me somebody from Undisputed said this, I would have definitely said it was Shannon Sharp. I would have never guessed Skip would have said this, but not that Skip is, that guy, but
he has his moments. Though.
He has his moments.
Right.
But hey, I totally agree with what he said. Yeah.
All right. Well, man, this is once again been an incredible show. One last thing I wanted to show you, the NFL. We talked about it earlier. Trying to get things in order to play football. So this has been a mock of possibly, if they do go through this, of having a mask, an extra mask put on for every helmet. So you know how some helmets just have like the visor over the eyes. Yeah. And then you have the open grill part, cage on the helmet. So this is what they're talking about doing, possibly. You see on the very bottom.
There's like the clear mask on the bottom.
Right. Now, I'm not sure if it's smart to maybe have the little, inserts of the breathing holes, because that kind of defeats the purpose, I think.
Yeah, might defeat the purpose a little bit.
If that's gonna be the case, but looks like that's what they're looking forward to trying to do, possibly.
It's not that bad. It doesn't alter the helmet too bad. Yeah. I guess as long as they can breathe. I mean, they got that bottom part right there. I mean, they can still.
And then, truthfully, I thought maybe they may do that with baseball and hockey.
I can see hockey.
Now, with baseball, how you have certain players like Giancarlo Stanton or Yadier Molina or Colton Wong, how do you have the extender going to their, to hide from the ball hitting their face? Maybe they could have just had one extend a little bit longer. So, but,
baseball, they're already getting on my nerves with all these little silly rules that they're implementing with their. They're turning the game into T-ball.
Yeah, the extra inning, having the man at second base starting the extra inning.
Just, he might as well just. I wouldn't be surprised. Hey, we gonna start extra innings with the ball with the T on the plate.
Yeah, right.
Have him hit, like, come on, what you doing, man?
And then have a guy at home plate right behind the hitter. So as soon as he hit it, he runs.
Right, he'll run. Oh my God, what are we doing, man? That we talk about Adam Silver being one of the best. Mansfield is one of the worst.
Oh yeah.
He needs to go, man.
Hey, there's someone. There she go. I was waiting. Joe from Joe Knows. She says she agrees with everything you're saying about these rules.
Oh,
she
my
says, "Amen."
And and I forget who it was that was saying it was one of the pictures. He's pretty entertaining on YouTube. I forget his name, but he had some choice words for Mansfield, basically about the way they promote baseball.
Right.
You've got some of the most talented baseball players to ever play, including Mike Trout. And if Mike Trout walked down the street, you wouldn't even know who he was.
And that's the conversation I had with Joe about how can Major League Baseball better market these players, because it's sad, like you said, you can see a Mike Trout.
Oh, we gonna market these players, but when you gotta get a baseball package, and even if you get the baseball package, you can't see your local team.
That's what sucks, because
like,
I believe I saw something. I believe I saw a report that people in Iowa does not have access on MLB.com or at bat to see the Cardinals or the Cubs or the Royals, or the Brewers, any team in that Midwest region, they don't have access to because they are in the Midwest.
Check this out. You know why there are so many Cardinals fans out here in the United States? There's not a Cardinal, because before they even had television,
KMOX.
They had KMOX,
right,
which was the most powerful signal that there was in radio.
Right.
So it reached St. Louis, parts in Iowa, Illinois, Arkansas, even the South,
Tennessee, Kentucky, all them.
And the Cardinals at one point was the most southern team in the United States for baseball.
Correct.
So if you had access to radio and a signal, you can listen to the game.
Yep.
The fans had access to the Cardinals, and you had all of these people cheering and rooting for these teams because of their local signal.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't Mansfield get it through their thick skull that to make the game accessible to people?
Correct.
It frustrates me to know. Welcome back to the show. My goodness.
Welcome back.
Oh, my goodness.
It feels good to get your passion back here.
I wanted to get that out. I never really had a chance to.
This is the platform to do it.
Oh, man.
And then
that felt good, though.
and then Bunny says baseball still believes they're in the 1970s.
The 1970s was better before promoting the game.
And MLB wonders why their fan base is dwindling down drastically.
Yeah, I wonder why. Because you can't see the game.
And then Joe says, and the MLB at bat app is not cheap. No, it's not.
No.
So you paying all that money. And that's the issue I have also with the NFL. Like, you have these packages, but then remember how when the Rams were here, that team we had years ago?
Yeah.
If they didn't sell out a game, they won't be on TV.
I mean, that's just asinine.
As a 10, stop playing.
As a 9, as a 10, as a 11.
But it's just crazy how you get these apps, and why have these restrictions? That's so stupid. Why have these restrictions? It don't matter if it's NBA, it don't matter if it's NHL, baseball, NFL. Stop these restrictions because of where you stay. You should be able to watch any damn game that you want to watch.
Exactly.
Stop doing all, like Bunny said, it's not 1970 where, okay, I got to be around KMOX so I can listen to the card. No. If you paying money for a team, whatever sport it is, page or app or whatever, you should have access to everything.
Yeah.
No blackout restrictions. No, because you don't. No.
More eyes on your game means more revenue.
Right.
You like these young fans. They're not even fans of their own home team because they don't even see them.
Now think about it. So like with the MLB app, I believe, and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that, let's say I have a West Coast game on, I have an East Coast game on, I have maybe the Cubs on, and I still want to watch the Cardinals. And you have that the picture in picture, or you can have 4 different games on at one time. If the Cardinals are on Fox Sports, if they're on Fox Sports Midwest, and I believe that's the truth. That because you stay in St. Louis,
right? You can't see
and
them.
You have Fox Sports Midwest.
Right.
You can't watch the game on MLB.
You can't see them. I know this. I know this because I cut out cable.
Yeah.
And when I cut out cable, I'm thinking, yay. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I can't see the Cardinals.
Right.
So I have to get a certain streaming service that carries it, and then that's another thing. The streaming service, that's another story.
Right.
They don't carry NFL Network, then the other don't carry MLB Network, then the other carrier don't carry Fox.
Oh my God.
And then it's like, who do you get? Now you got to get 2 or 3.
Who do you run to?
Now you're paying just as much as you did before with cable.
Right.
Just to see your local team that should be accessible to everybody.
Exactly.
It's just
that's crazy. Welcome back, Sadal.
My blood pressure up now. I hope you're happy.
Hey, it's great television, man. We definitely appreciate it, man. Definitely appreciate all y'all for tuning in and watching the Platform Sports Talk Show. We had an incredible interview with Coach COUNZO Martin from MIZZOU. Great interview, man.
Yeah.
Just a real down-to-earth guy. Had some cool stories that he told. Didn't know that he was a catcher back in the day.
I had no idea.
That's pretty cool, you know?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to see a different side of a guy who you seen just in one kind of light. So to see him in a different kind of side of him for a little while, that was real cool. So much respect. Thank you very much, Coach.
That was wasn't that our first active coach or player in a major sport? Am I correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We moving on up, man.
Making history,
We
man.
moving on up, man.
This is your Wednesday night Sports Delight. Goes down every Wednesday. For those on YouTube, or if you're not, make sure you go on YouTube, subscribe, click on that
Bell.
because anytime we go live,
You will be notified.
there it is. So next week, it keeps getting better and better. And when he knew that I had Coach COUNZO Martin on the show, he was like, man, I have to follow that. And I'm like, yep, good luck, buddy. And we will have next week, bam, MLB Network / Mad Dog Radio Sports Talk Show host on Sirius XM, and also contributes to KMOX as well. Radio personality Kevin Wheeler.
Kevin Wheeler.
And
my goodness.
This guy here.
I know who he is.
This guy here, it should be fun.
Yeah.
It should definitely be fun. He has a lot to say.
As Chris Collinsworth would say, now here's a guy.
Here's a guy. So he's also a baseball coach. So he has a lot of stuff going on his plate. But he will actually be here in the getaway.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we're going to make it happen. He looks forward to it. It's going to be fun. He has to get the gab as well. So if Stan this back, it should be fun. He's very opinionated. That's the word.
I don't know, Smooth. Is that word?
I think I just made up a whole new word.
And you never know.
You never knew. I never knew.
You never knew. You never know. I might.
Uh-oh.
I have to see what's going on, but you know.
Check the Rolodex.
Just might have a fourth guy here.
I'm going to check the calendar
Just
here.
might.
But yeah, so it's going to be a very fun show. And before we go, I have to give a shout out to 2 people. I gave them a shout out last week because of the transition that we're doing with our show, the logo. So big shout out to Tono Wilson holding things down. He did our first logo. Well, not first, but our second one with me standing to be bigger on there and the arch and the stadium. Then he did an update with the arch and the stadiums to look bigger, look better. And then shouts out to Kana. If I have her name pronounced wrong, I apologize. Kana Jasmine. She held things down. Follow her on Facebook, Konna Jasmine. She added a little more boldness and flair to the logo. So the platform Sports Talk Show, we combine the colors of ST.LOUIS, the Cardinals, and the Blues. Originally, I want to have the Battlehawks, but we don't know. So can't really promote them if we don't know what's going to happen.
Oh, that's a sad situation.
Yeah. So shouts out to her for her work. Make sure y'all give her a follow. Much love to her. She definitely held things down. I got her Monday, and she made things happen on Tuesday. Our cover photo that you saw on the very bottom, on the left under Kevin Wheeler earlier. Let me show it again real quick. She made that happen as well. She did all that. So we're doing big things, man, for the Platform Sports Talk Show. Then we'll make some adjustments in the future with bringing back our intro video, make some minor adjustments, and get that going as well. So big things are in store for our show. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. COUNZO, thank you very much.
You know, I feel like
I feel the master. No, I'm sorry.
I feel like a Tribe Called Quest. Like if this is a Tribe Called Quest, I feel like I'm Jerobi. I owe you, and sometimes why? I feel like Jerobi here, man.
Oh, man. If y'all don't know about Tribe Called Quest,
Just look them up, young kids.
yeah. So with that being said, that is our show. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, Kevin Wheeler will be here in the getaway. Should be fun. A lot of Cardinal talk. A lot of course, you know, because we're from the Lou. A lot of Cardinals and Blues, and he does a lot of stuff for Major League Baseball overall. So we'll see what he has in store. Joe, I know you're watching. Get ready with your questions. I know you have a lot of them, especially with her loving the Houston Astros as well. She's a huge, she's a huge Houston Astros fan. She loves the Cardinals, but she also loves the Houston Astros. So
You lucky this show is almost over. You lucky this show is almost over.
So yeah,
just don't bang your trash can.
oh,
Bang your trash can. You know. This ain't that kind of show. We play clean here. You know,
we
this
play
we do
clean.
here.
I mean, she knows that because you know she's a Cardinal fan. She loves the Cardinals first.
Okay.
But she has a love for the Astros.
I don't know why.
Look at her. She says Stros, baby. now
Asterisks.
I did ask her a while back if the Cardinals and the Astros play in the World Series, who would you go for? She did say the Cardinals.
Okay.
So Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, but you did say the Astros. I mean the Cardinals. So there we go. But next week it should be fun, man. May have more surprises in store. You never know.
You never know.
She says man, and she can't stand Rob Manfred either.
Oh God.
She can't stand him.
Well, we can agree on that.
She says open. She says Manfred, open that letter. She's referring to the Yankees. Apparently, there's been a report that they've also done some sign stealing, and Manfred knows about it. And there's a letter at his desk in which he has not really opened it to get into the investigation.
You mean the staple of Major League Baseball, the New York Yankees, cheated? As if they need to cheat with all the money they got? Anyway.
Bunny
I'm
says,
safe.
Bunny Clapper says, good answer. Bunny, thank you very much for your comments as well. Everyone, share our pages. It's all on the screen right there. Share it. Let's get more people tuned in next week. This is your Wednesday night Sports Delight. We ain't going nowhere. It gets bigger and better. Kevin Wheeler will be on right here in person, talking some good talk, man. Sports. This is your boy Smooth, along with
Sadal.
When it's about sports,
It becomes our business.
and business just picked up. Have a wonderful rest of your night and have a great week. Check us out, man. We out.
Onward and upward.